A warm welcome to another edition of the SKNIS produced Week in Review. This program is geared at highlighting the top stories of the Government of National Unity for the past week. In this week's top story, 2 young women joined the chambers of National Assembly. I am your host, Jamiela McPhail. Senator Akila Byron Nisbet took the office as the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly on Friday, 18th November 2016, at a special sitting of the National Assembly at the National Assembly Chambers at Government Headquarters. Senator Byron Nisbet's elevation as Deputy Speaker follows on the heels of Senator Michael Perkins, who was elevated to Speaker of the National Assembly from Deputy Speaker. Her appointment as Senator and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly has received widespread support from Cabinet of Government of National Unity, civil society organizations, professional women's groups, political organizations, and the first living national hero of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Right Excellent and the Right Honorable Sir Kennedy Simmons.
First, Mr. Speaker, let me say that I am humbled by all of the kind words that have been shared with me, to me, and the advice that I've just received. I'm humbled because there are great expectations that are going to be set for me, and I do make that commitment that I will live up to every single word of each of these honorable members that they would have displayed this morning.
Foreign Service Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Sonia Body, was appointed Deputy Clerk in the National Assembly on Friday as well. She fills the shoes of Ms. Jean Williams, who has served in that position for some time. Ms. Williams, a lawyer by profession, is now the Registrar of the Intellectual Property Office. Ms. Body was commended by the Cabinet of the Government of National Unity and Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Michael Perkins. In commending Ms. Body, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, praised her dedication.
I want to commend Ms. Sonia Body and her elevation as the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly. And I know that she will do us proud. She will do the young people proud. She will do her family proud. And her dead grandmother, Mem Body, is smiling. You see how they tell you so? You see how they tell you so? I welcome her mother, who has journeyed all the way from the States back here to be part of this celebratory occasion. And it shows too that where there is consistent parental involvement, children can grow up to make a difference. In Sonia's life, it was a grandmother and a mother who from the distance showered her with love and who was there every occasion to remind her that she had God-given talents and those talents could take her everywhere.
And in more news, the government remains committed to the development of the Federation's youth, citizen security, and juvenile justice and governance. This was underscored at Thursday's launch of the Youth Empowerment Service YES Project 2016-2020 at the Ocean Terrace Inn. The YES project, which was sponsored by the USAID, United States Agency for International Development, is intended to increase the capacity of regional bodies, national governments, and community stakeholders to reduce the risk factor that drive youth crime, violence, and victimization, and to strengthen protective factors that build resilience. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs and Justice, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., delivered the featured remarks at Tuesday's launch.
Social safety and basic services require significant resources to combat the fallout of drug trafficking, increase in violent crime, and high murder rates due to local gangs, and the increased availability of firearms, which has a significant cost to our economic growth. We must therefore thank the USAID, its partners, the UNDP, and the OECS Secretariat, but in particular the USAID, I should mention, for its continued support of programs which are targeted to our youth, not only in St. Kitts but throughout the region, to assist with activities that support an improved evidence base on crime and violence that will be used to look at community-based crime and violence prevention programs and the improvement of the juvenile justice systems addressing the management of youth in conflict with the law. We note that this program's development objective is basically to reduce youth involvement in crime and violence in target communities. This program, yes, forms part of the USAID Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, and it is designed to reduce crime and violence among youth. I deem it timely because it's being held at a time when the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has placed the issue of justice reform, particularly juvenile justice, extremely high on the national agenda. It also coincides with my ministry's commitment to position access to justice as one of its strategic pillars. This translates into the creation of an effective justice system capable through initiatives such as juvenile community programs consisting of strategies to help prevent and reduce juvenile crime and delinquency.
During a comprehensive overview of the YES project, Program Management Specialist Risa Brathwaite reveals that USAID had been working with the government for a very long time, and as such, she was excited to launch what she described as a game-changing and groundbreaking intervention.
The project will target 15 communities in the 3 priority countries. In St. Kitts, for example, we expect that there will be 3 to 5 communities selected, and these will be selected based on pre-identified criteria such as the crime trends, data about young people, unemployment, the statistics related to youth involvement with the law, and so on. This process is underway at the moment, but the proposed approach, which is important to understand, has 3 levels. The first level, the primary level, targets all young people ages 10 to 29 who, by virtue of living in the selected community, is at risk for crime involvement. A menu of social programs will be offered to divert young people from risk and criminal activity, such as youth leadership training, life and social skills training, community engagement, as well as other social programs. Secondary prevention services will be provided to young people with 4 to 6 risk factors. The Youth Service Eligibility Tool, a proven tool being used right now in different parts of Latin America and to address gang violence in the US, is being used to determine these risks. In this category, young people will benefit from very specific risk reduction activities such as life planning, mentoring, and family counseling. Tertiary interventions will target the highest risk group of young people who demonstrate 7 to 9 risk factors. These young people may already be gang involved or may have already had contact with the law. They will benefit from more specialized services such as cognitive behavioral therapy and so on.
The Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, recently concluded 2 important engagements in St. Kitts and Nevis. These were a consultative forum and the 77th meeting of ECTEL Board of Directors. These were held in the aim to discuss current issues related to telecommunications in the countries. In an interview with SKNIS on Thursday, Amber Charles, Managing Director of ECTEL, said that the members meet periodically as a technical team to go through a number of issues to find common grounds, as harmonization is underlining the relationship between the 5 ECTEL member countries.
In the last 2 days in St. Kitts, the forum addressed some specific issues. I will just speak to a couple of them. One is that we came together to look at the issue of consumer education and public awareness, because we think it's necessary. While some of the education activities and awareness activities has to be done at a national level, there is need for some regional cohesion in sending the same message out about ECTEL and the NTRCs to all citizens of the ECTEL member states. We also discuss issues related to what we call universal service. We are about changing our laws on universal service, and that was discussed. We discussed the question of managing the spectrum, that is the airways we use, which broadcasters and telecoms providers are used to deliver their services. There are cases of interference. We are about investing in new equipment to monitor the spectrum. That was discussed as well. And generally discussed issues of enforcement, the challenges we face in enforcing the respective regulations in the member states.
Mr. Charles said that the forum was successful and that members were able to come up with solutions to the issues discussed.
In the case of the public education campaign, a strategy was developed. There were some key issues that were identified as requiring urgent attention. There were issues related to the impact of the cable and wireless merger on the respective countries. It's not a situation in St. Kitts in particular, but it has some implications for the other countries. There are also the issues of increased awareness of customers on how to file complaints, how complaints are resolved in the respective countries. We need to have some kind of increased education on that process. There is also the issue now of cable television and service providers sometimes changing prices. We need to get to understand the problems and encourage and educate consumers how best that they can exercise the powers they have under the law to get the matters resolved. On the matter of the spectrum equipment, we looked at some options in terms of different software for managing the spectrum, and some recommendations came out which will be taken to the board of directors for their approval and eventual implementation in each of the countries.
Okay. You did not mention it, but I was made to understand there is the issue of, or not the issue of, but there's a mention of a new electronics communication bill. Can you shed some light on that so that persons can understand what it entails?
It wasn't a specific item in this forum because it has been addressed in several forums before. We are pretty much advanced in the EC bill. The Electronic Communications Bill essentially is a new piece of legislation which will replace the Telecommunications Act, which is the act, the existing act which governs the management of the sector in all the countries. Largely because of what we call convergence, where the technology for delivering services has changed. There is need to change the law to catch up with the technology in principle. So over the last few years we have gone through a process of developing the new EC bill. The EC bill has gone through several changes. In fact, the Council of Ministers approved the final version of the EC bill at the time when the minister from St. Kitts and Nevis was chairing the ECTEL Council of Ministers. That EC bill, we think, will address a number of the gaps in as far as the powers are concerned in the current NTRCs in particular, and also give the ministers some more power to ensure that they respond in a timely manner to the problems that consumers are facing within the ECTEL member states.
Students from across the OECS were given the opportunity to showcase their reading skills during the 8th Annual Courts OECS Reading Competition Finals on November 16th. This was held at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium in St. Kitts. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. William V. Hodge, explained while giving brief remarks at the event that it not only showcased the bright minds and excellent readers, but it also provides an avenue for students to be true ambassadors to their respective schools and territories in the OECS. The Permanent Secretary noted that since its inception in 2009, there has been a significant improvement in the reading abilities of students, especially those 8 and 9-year-olds. He further explained that literacy is a fundamental human right and the basis for long life learning. You have been viewing another edition of the SKNIS produced Week in Review. This program is geared at highlighting the work of the Government of National Unity for the past week. I have been your host, Jamiela McPhail. See you next time.